get funky.
Welcome back yet again. Here we are with Bizz. I'm Daniels D Money up here in Simi Valley, Cali. That doesn't even sound good. I tried to make Simi Valley sound so cool.
there's nothing gangster about Simi Valley.
They're
And
really
I'm Aaron down in San Diego. San Diego doesn't look like this.
down there, right? So let me tell you. So we both watched. Nerd alert, by the way. Just want everybody to know. Real big nerd alert. We both just finished watching Justice League Dark, Apocalypse
Yes.
War.
I think it was rated R.
Oh, it should have been rated double R. It was so good. Story was good. If you haven't seen it, I want to ruin it for you. If you're a superhero fan and you're into comics,
Ruin it.
I don't want to ruin it. Let's just say the first 10 minutes are enough to make you go, and then you watch the rest of it.
Blood, guts, repeat.
Yeah, fantastic. So good, so good. DC does an amazing job of doing, animated films. My question is, why can't DC create a consistent cinematic universe? Because Marvel is out there kicking butt. And let's just say, let me add this too before I really get into it. Marvel, who is great at doing cinematic movies, does lag behind in the cartoon realm, but they don't need to keep up with the cartoons, I guess, because their cinematic releases are so great. So why can't DC pull it off?
It kind of boils down to just poor management, because you can do one of two things. You can copy what Marvel is doing just with your characters, or go the route of taking this rated R cartoon and just plaster it into live action. But the issue with these movies, or what Marvel did that was so successful, was they got the same actors for a decade.
Right.
It had this crazy story arc with the same actors, so it's really one universe.
Pretty much, except for Terrence Howard wanted to be all paid more than the star of the movie. Let's figure that out. I'm in a movie, but I'm not the star. But I want more.
Kanye. That's that Kanye.
Yeah. Oh well.
And he's kicking himself now because
he's got Empire.
The universe, but
he does have Empire.
Never heard.
But right. But so why? You're right. They did. They took characters. They signed the same actors for a long time. And I also think what worked for them, which I don't know why DC deviated from this path, is they took their core characters. They gave them all backgrounds, because not everybody, even if you're a moviegoer, it may not necessarily be a comic book guy. So even if you take a mainstream character like Captain America or Iron Man, because Iron Man wasn't super mainstream A-list superhero until 2008, right? So even if you take a guy like that, you still have to give the average Joe Schmo moviegoer a backstory, some background, give them a reason to care about this superhero character, right? And so they did that with all their core guys. I mean, and then they gradually brought them all together in the Avengers, which was great. DC decided to forgo that route. For some reason, DC, you're 8 years behind the curve. Marvel has got all these movies out, and you guys decide 8 years later, okay, we're going to catch up. So we're going to throw out a Justice League movie after we've only released Man of Steel, which was good, by the way. And this Dawn of Justice, which was garbage, by the way. They didn't take the time to lay the groundwork with each of their characters. And I don't know if DC was thinking, well, we don't want to copy what Marvel did. My response to that is, yes, copy what Marvel did. Because if your movies are good, we'll watch them.
Yes, all the characters, the stories have been established. This is nothing new. Superman is almost 100 years old. We can't even get a consistent Batman. I think every other week there's a new Batman.
Right.
So,
which is bad. And I guess that is, like you said, would you say poor management?
Yeah, I mean, you can't get one. This might be a bougie actor thing. You can't get one guy to just be Batman for 10 years.
in the world we live in today, the cinematic world where superhero movies are all over the place, right? And not just the mainstream stuff. You got stuff on what's the show we watched on Prime? The Boys.
Oh,
We've got
fantastic.
which is great, right? You got
So good.
superhero stuff popping up all over the yard, and you can't get one guy to be Batman.
And these part of that is these actors, I want to spread my wings. I want to do this. I don't want to get typecast. You do want to get typecast as Batman because you are set for life. I don't care about any other movies. If you associate, like right now, there's a huge chunk of the population that associates Michael Keaton with 1990s Batman.
And there's also that same population who associates Michael Keaton with that Batman that wants him to be Batman if they ever do a live Batman Beyond. They want Michael Keaton, which would be fantastic, right? So here's one.
He's 30 years old.
Right. Here's my theory of one reason why they can't just take, the movie we watched, Justice League Dark, and make a live action of it. There are so many characters, different superheroes in that movie. Little known characters, all these, I'm not talking B superheroes, I'm talking C and D superheroes that are in there. Yeah. And with the animated movies, DC doesn't have to cater to the big cinema setup where you have to give them a backstory. Those DC animated movies are made for the comic book readers. So when I recognize all the little C and D characters running around, you can't do that in a mainstream movie. You've got 2 hours to set up your story and make the audience care because you want to get that $1 billion. So they can't do that with the cinematic movies, and I get that. But they could have totally done it the same way Marvel did it. Or they have other DC movies that are fantastic. Batman Under the Red Hood, super great. They could have totally made that live action movie, which is, really good. Flashpoint, which I think they're still trying to do, but they got to get rid of that suit they got Ezra Miller wearing. It's garbage.
It's terrible. It looks like I made it.
Oh man!
I think what the route they might need to go is to get actors that aren't A-list, because you've got stories that are A-list, but
you do
having hungry actors. Could you imagine an actor that's a waiter or server right now? Hey, we need you to be the Flash for the next 10 years. Okay.
Exactly.
Where do I sign?
Read the script. He's ready to go. Right.
Yeah.
And another question I have is Justice League, Dawn of Justice. No, or was that Batman Superman? Batman Superman, Dawn of Justice. That's a good example too. Based on little bits and pieces of stories, but horribly done. Story is bad. Justice League, story was weak. DC Comics has been around for 80 years.
Something close enough.
We've got 80 years of good stories. Why can't you find one and adapt a live action movie to it and put it on the screen?
DC's also done good on their DC Universe network.
Yes, it's like Titans is good.
Yes, Titans is good, and they push the envelope. That's what I'm saying. If you go the route of lesser known actors, you know how many actors out there would kill to be Superman or long-term Batman?
Right. Well, I think Henry Cavill is trying to kill to be Superman again.
Yeah, he still wants to be, but we can't get a decent Superman script. In that aspect, again, the stories are already written. I don't even need you to be. You don't need to be creative.
Right. Go find a good Superman story
and paste
and put it on. And here's my argument with Superman, and I think Henry Cavill is the best Superman since Christopher Reeve. No disrespect to Brandon Routh, I thought he just had a bad script.
Full disrespect. I love Henry Cavill.
Yeah, Henry Cavill's great. The best Superman, and if DC doesn't get it together, they're going to lose him. But the best Superman, and his movie was good, right? So give the guy a movie. Oh, I know where I was going with that. The problem I have with the Superman movies, not Henry Cavill, is the fact that they've always got him fighting Lex Luthor. Superman can punch holes in planets, and he's fighting Lex Luthor. That's why Man of Steel was so good, because he got to fight someone he could actually punch. You know, we want to see Superman get into. We want to see Superman. I mean, think about it. If I'm Superman and Lex Luthor is running around, he's alive because I'm letting you live. And right, I'm Superman. You're Lex Luthor. You're alive, buddy, because I let you. You know, I can come and, you know, fly you into outer space quicker than any camera can catch me, do it, and throw you at the sun and just go back and, you know, Lois thinks I'm in the bathroom. That's how quick that's how fast so they keep throwing Lex Luthor at us in movies. I'm like, give me a break. It's weak. Ooh, that's not a baby.
I don't get why they won't take a Darkseid script, or, you know, it's a three or four movie arc if you work it right.
Exactly.
You know?
I mean, they could do exactly what Marvel did with Thanos. You know, I mean, Darkseid is it safe to say that Darkseid is DC's Thanos?
Yes, but he's a little different in that he has personal vendettas. A little different about Thanos is interesting because you don't know what side you're on. You know, when you hear him talk and he's monologuing or whatever, but, you know, because he makes good points. But Darkseid doesn't care. Darkseid, he's not dumb, but he's more ruthless. I'm just going to end you.
Well, I definitely like what Darkseid does in this, you know, Justice League Dark Apocalypse War to the superheroes when he prevails.
Absolutely.
It's great.
Fantastic.
And don't get me wrong, we've talked about Thanos too in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The more I watch Infinity War, the more I'm on Thanos' side. The more I watch that movie, the more I'm totally with Thanos.
It's like an internal conflict. It's I get what you're saying. It's that Justice League Dark for me is almost Flashpoint, the sequel to Flashpoint. So DC makes Flashpoint,
which was fantastic.
That's great, fantastic. And then you come out with this movie a year or two later, with the way, no spoilers here, but with the way that it ends, just be Flashpoint Part 2.
Right.
Or to be continued.
It's too bad because I mean, I love the Marvel movies. They're great. I mean, they're fantastic. They really are. I mean, Marvel, again, they took all these characters and gave them backstories. Marvel made us love Ant-Man, right? When they said they're going to do an Ant-Man movie, I was like, who cares about Ant-Man? Who? Exactly.
Never heard of him.
But now I'm dying to see Ant-Man 3, right? Whenever it comes out, whatever.
And I think that's what, going back to what you said about Iron Man, I think it was more Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark that made Iron Man.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Same thing with Paul Rudd.
Yeah. If you're an actor playing a superhero, you have to be able to pull off the guy outside of the suit, which is not true if you're playing Batman.
Yes.
Because when you play Batman, Batman is the real guy. Bruce Wayne is the mask. And you have to be able to play Batman as if he's the man wearing the mask. So playing Bruce Wayne is a little different. And I thought, let me just go on record as saying this. I don't care how many people hate it. Ben Affleck was the best Batman.
I like my brawler Batman. And
Ben Affleck was the closest thing to the comic book.
He was jacked. I'm like, this dude is
the closest
huge.
thing, yes.
You know what it is? They got the stature right. He's 6'4". You know, Christian Bale and the terrible smoker's voice, it just didn't work.
Right.
And his felt cape. There's a scene at the end of where he's fighting Bane during the day, and I'm like, this dude's cape is made out of felt. They went to Joann's Fabrics and cut this dude a piece of. Oh my God! It was so
and I
bad.
never liked the fighting style in the Nolan Batman movies. Sorry, Christopher.
Everybody fights like this.
Yeah, because it was very choppy. Batman is a martial artist, and we got a little of that in Batman versus Superman, which overall wasn't great. But the Batman scene where he goes and rescues Martha, let's not get into that, was fantastic. But anyway, so we're out of time. But I guess we're gonna keep hoping that DC can give us a consistent cinematic universe. But in the meantime, if you are a comic book fan and you are upset with DC and their lack of ability to put a cinematic universe out there, watch their animated films. They're fantastic.
Yes. Justice League Dark.
Justice League Dark is great. Apocalypse War, watch it.
Yes. Go watch Justice League Dark then come back and comment.
Well, there's two Justice League Darks. There's Justice League Dark, and then there's this newer one, the Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. So make sure you watch the Apocalypse War one.
Yes.
Right? And some other
so
titles out there. Batman Under the Red Hood is great. A Justice League Crisis on, is it Crisis on Two Earths or something like that?
Yes.
Great. Justice League Doom was fantastic. Just, man, there's so many of them.
Anything in their library in terms of animated films is fantastic.
Superman Red Sun, which recently came out.
Yes, where he's Russian. Or Vladimir Cant.
It's really great. If you ever want to see a good fight scene where Batman just dominates Superman in a hand-to-hand fight, this is it. But anyway, that's all our time for now. We're going to sign off yet again. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please hit the like button on the bottom. Please make sure you subscribe. All right, we need to hit those subscribe buttons. And, we'll be back soon. We're out.
Bizz.